tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Es el sueño el motor, son las metas a alcanzar. Siempre hay que descubrir la manera de vivir. Este lugar, esta tierra, tiene tanto que ofrecer. Sueño el motor, son las metas a alcanzar. Siempre hay que descubrir la manera de vivir. Este lugar, esta tierra, tiene tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Es el sueño el motor, son las metas a alcanzar. Siempre hay que descubrir la manera de vivir. Este lugar, esta tierra, tiene tanto que ofrecer. Sueño el motor, son las metas a alcanzar. Siempre hay que descubrir la manera de vivir. Este lugar, esta tierra, tiene tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Tiene tanto que ofrecer. Esta tierra tiene tanto que ofrecer.
And he's pedal to the metal, go, go, go!
Welcome, ladies and gents, to PSGL. For some reason my chair is about sloped down as anything, but welcome back. We're back together this time. We're not separated. Our forces strung out amongst the different tiers. We are united once again. Me and my good friend Benjamin here once again. How are you doing?
Doing great. Long came off work. Good to come back and chill and then get all excited over the next race. So Hungaroring tonight, how are we feeling on the track itself? So it's a hit or miss for some people.
Absolutely. It's gonna be interesting with the Hungaroring because it's one of those that a lot of drivers are a love-hate relationship. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely going to be one of those tracks where it certainly shows its might in league racing from what I've seen. It really does sort of come into its own, especially once you're past the 2 DRS zones.
Absolutely, it does. And definitely the one thing I do love about this track is it's one that I'm actually decent at. Fun fact, I'm actually decent at racing around the circuit. So I do enjoy it because I know where the moves can be made. I know, the places you can place the risks and take advantage on the corners. But one thing you have to know about this track as well, it is a track limit galore circuit as well. So you have to be careful on that as well, particularly on, the Turn 4, that's one area everyone gets caught out through the S's, through 8, 9. That can catch people out, and especially turn 11 as well. Going wide, go too wide, again, invalidation. So it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the last round in Mexico, it was absolute track limits galore there as well. Hopefully we don't get a repeat because a lot of track limits penalties did go out. I'd say hotspots really, it's like 2.7 miles, 2 DRS zones. Hotspots are going to be turn 1. I'd say turn 6 we might see a little bit of bravery or people getting close at least. Turn 10, watch out for track limits, and then maybe a little bit of a charge heading into turn 12. We've seen a couple of moves like that in the past where people get locked in just ahead of the pit straight. Yeah,
there are a lot of points there, but I think if we're talking about the track as well, we've got to talk about the great overtaking zones. Turn 1 is the predominant one. Then you got the run down to turn 2. If you're Fernando Alonso, you can defend like hell. And we saw this, I think it was 2021. No, sorry. Was it 21 that Fernando Alonso did his ultimate defense Yeah, it was.
Yep,
It was 21.
Ocon win. Alonso proved why he was one of the best.
Yes, and particularly into turn 4, we see a lot of drivers trying to make a move there. We said about track limits. We're going to see drivers get 3-second time penalties for making that move. Unsuccessful into turn 5. I've actually seen a couple of drivers make a lunge into turn 12. That's quite a nice flowing corner because you do continue a lot of pace. You're actually continuing roughly around 210 kilometers an hour through turn 11, so you're able to carry the speed, and then you could dive bomb it into turn 12. So we might not be seeing that as much, but it's something to keep an eye out for sure.
Yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. And like I was saying before, the great thing about attacking at turn 12, if you've got the bravery and the guts and the opportunity to commit to it, is you can get that move locked in heading up into the final couple of corners. Of course, it does leave you open to a potential retake because the detection zone for DRS at the start-finish line is just after turn 13. But if you can get that move done, especially if you're heading towards a pit window, it could be really advantageous in terms of strategy.
Yeah, and going into strategy, it's about the same as everywhere else. You know, you can start on the hards, drop down to your mediums, the lower fuel, go for the attack. It's not this track doesn't have a lot of tire degradation problems, so we will be seeing drivers really push hard on their tires and not have much consequences. Of course, there will be some, but not as the same degree as, say, you were going around China, where it is tire degradation galore.
Yeah, the tires are one thing to keep an eye on. I'm not sure how it's going to play out because we might see. We've seen a few alternative strategies come in at the Hungaroring. It is one of those tracks where really you do depend a lot on the cadence of the field around you. So we do see a lot of teams start to adapt, maybe change their strategies, especially if you've got engineers in your ear. If you, say, like have a lot of cars around you, or if you've got an open space. This is one of those tracks where you kind of, with the 2 consecutive DRS zones, you need to be with someone, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that does make sense. And first on track is the... I am obliged to say it because I lost a bet. Our championship contender, even though he's nowhere near the top, Alexander Johansson. Never played chess against that man. You will end up losing. Johansson on track, start things off. He's not had a good start to the season. But, and I will put a but here, he has performed in the last race that I have commentated with. And he got himself over the line in second, but penalties have been a problem. So there is potential with Johansson to make a creep up the field. It's just whether he can transform his performance that he did in this different league and put it here today in the Hungaroring.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen a bit of an improvement, like an upward swing, or at least those flashes of brilliance come from Johansson in recent runs. I think one of the big things for Johansson is just being able to keep it together, string it all together into a full race. But he's proven that he has the guts to push upwards. It's just about holding it all together, especially when faced with pressure.
Absolutely, and hell, let's ride on board with Johansson. Heading into turn 1 we go. Drop down to that third gear, which is very surprising with how well the corner flows. But very quickly you shift up and you run through the gears through the first DRS. Down into turn 2. This is where Verstappen and Ricciardo had contact with each other and first sparked the hatred. Well, it's still bromance between them, but the hatred on track. Turn 4, it's a quick dip on the shifters and the brake, and it's very easy to push that car massively wide. Into turn 6 and 7. Now, you try to not go over to that sausage curb, but if you do, you will massively put the car out of line, and then it's just careful with the throttle, as you can see, Johansson getting that rear end out, because it's so easy to lose traction through the S section. Through turn 11 and on to turn 12, we said if you get a good run out of turn 11, a lunge could happen here, particularly when the time is dire. And then through 13, another long, slow corner. Understeer could be a pain, and so can oversteer on the exit. And again, another long 180 corner. Get the traction down, put the pedal to the metal, and a 1:15.6 would be today's benchmark.
And that is the initial time that's going to be set. Can Nowicki clock it? Nope. It's going to be a 1:15.747. A few more drivers yet to come around. Alessandro Finn is going to be getting a 1:15.581. However, that's going to put him top of the timesheets. New time to beat. Next up, you've got a few drivers who are starting their lap. So Tamas coming through. Nage's about to finish one. So let's see what he can do in this scenario. It's been looking good otherwise. Can he get anything on the top of the boards? Yes, he absolutely can. 20 milliseconds split the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari. Alfa Romeo coming through to start the lap of Super Gaming here. And should we stick with?
Well, I'm currently watching Zerky come across the line. What can he do for his first run? Is it going to be strong? It's going to be P5, but massively off the pace. But you were saying we're watching Super Gaming. Yeah, let's stick with them.
Yeah, so Super Gaming here, we're going to be sticking on boards because one of the more hit or miss, I'd say, runners over the course of the season. They've definitely put in good pace. They've definitely shown their strength over the course of the season, but have had a little moment here and there where the pressure maybe, or whatever reason, they've just been not able to hold the same. 6 and 7 now, tight right left, does manage to nail the apex though. Keep the car stable through the S section, turn 8, turn 9, it's almost like a roller coaster, the way you have to plant your car, ride the curves, have your confidence in the car there, but not overconfident. They may be on dry and on softs, but that grip is not infinite. Turn 12 now. Heads it straight into the apex. Personal sector 2, best as to be expected. Brief yellow coming out as people get shuffled around on the sector 2 side of things, but Super Gaming coming around the final corner really pulls it close to the pit entry there. It's looking like a very good line, and it's a 1:15.538. That is going to pip Isman Nage by just 23 milliseconds.
It is a strong lap time, but we've got to keep an eye on Joris. He's currently second in this championship, 9 points behind Lund. So all could flip around here, and it all depends on what pace Joris has. I don't think he used much of the turn 13 curb, and he's backing off the lap. So nothing yet, but we've still got Lund, who is going to do another lap even though he invalidated. So we're going to stick with Lund. And Lund's got 4 wins here. Well, I say 4 wins here. 4 wins in this series. And he had that brief moment. I think we do talk about it quite a lot. A brief moment where he had his spark, then it lost completely off the first race. Now he's back in this flow. Are we going to see Lund maybe try and close up and tie up the championship, maybe in Saudi Arabia next race?
I definitely see it being on the cards. You got Joris, who is their main rival, out on track, or at least soon to come out on track. Although saying that, Leo Lund loses it on the rear, coming through, heading into turn 6, just drops the car. A little bit too aggressive on the throttle there, I'd say. But he's definitely feeling the pressure of such a high position. Is on a high with, of course, their 4 wins, most amount of wins, double the competitor in P2. So Joris only has 2 finishes in first, but he does also have 2 P3s. So Lund is definitely going to be feeling the pressure. And I think we might start to see that show through, but I don't know. It's tough to call.
Yeah, and we're riding on board now with Cordell. And he's been slowly making his way up the grid. He's a driver that I've had experience watching. I call him the Ministry of Defense. He is the Sergio Perez of this grid. And he really does perform when he really wants to, as he does come across the line. That was his warm-up lap.
That's a warm-up. He's
but
not
he's
pushing. You see the batteries full.
Yeah. Very odd, but yeah, he is a very unorthodox driver. He is a very defensive man, but he has some good pace behind him as Danny Coe finding his way back on top. And we haven't said that for a while as he puts himself into P2.
It's very good. And a single millisecond splits himself and Isman Nage over in P3. So the margins are so fine here. I think all the drivers are really looking for a 15.6 because as it stands with 10 minutes to go, that would put them around P5, P6, right where Johansson is right now.
Yeah, 15.6. I think we're going to see lap times maybe at the best drop down to a 15.3. Because they're going to dip into the 15.4. You know somebody's going to pull out a lap time. It's probably going to either be Nage or or Lund that's going to pull out something out of nowhere, as Finn will improve his lap time and puts himself onto pole. But yeah, 15.3 is what we're going to be looking at as we've been watching Nage on his lap again. He's avoiding the complete curb on the inside of turn 13. Round 14 goes wide. It's going to slingshot him back into the corner, across the line. What's it going to be? 15.40. And I told you 15.3 is on the table here.
It's definitely on the table. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the likes of Lund, once he finds his full composure, really push up into the top there, given the lofty expectation, a lofty performance we've seen over the course of the season so far. Don't sleep on Yoris though, however. They did have a little bit of a hiccup, it looks like, coming through turn 6, almost, or turn 5, sorry, almost akin to how Leo Lund lost the car heading into that exact same corner.
I'm laughing because Johansson's just gone 3/10 faster on his middle sector. He was positive on his first. Middle sector, he's found something. Is this the day I'm actually going to crown Johansson as pole sitter? Comes across the line. He's on pole, but can he keep it to the end? This is pure excitement for me because if you've sat with us throughout this season, I have given this man so much stick. And the last race, I couldn't give him any stick. Well, I could, because he got 9 seconds of penalties. But with
all that tough luck in the industry. Tough love.
Tough love. Exactly. That's what it is. It is massive tough love. But as I said, and I posed the question, we've got 8 minutes left on this clock. Can he hold it?
Yeah, that question is going to hold true. I do love it. The dynamic between you two is very entertaining, I would say that.
It's like a father-son relationship, even though I think he's older than me.
Interesting choice there. But Super Gaming is going to about to say, no, actually, I think I'm going to take it. 0.148, that Alfa Romeo is on the pole, and that's looking very strong. So 0.3, what was looking like the top lofty spot, Super Gaming's come through with almost like one of his traditional, out of nowhere, pole smashes.
Yeah, and yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see as Leo Lund actually near to matches that lap time as well. So more pushing is going to be needed, and I think this is going to be quite close to the top because it's been a change of names constantly. No one's been secured at the top every time coming in, so we'll see what happens. This qualifying is definitely not over.
Not over by a long shot. So big spread so far. I expect that to shrink massively as we head to the final few minutes of qualifying in not long before now. So for example, Elliot Noren, he's going to be definitely looking to push, definitely be looking to improve. In fact, he's just started a lap here, P14, and about a second realistically off where he would want to be in this scenario. 1.5 seconds to make up if they want to get to the very top. It looks like they might encounter a little bit of traffic, but already half a second on their previous. It's looking like a good lap for the Red Bull right here. Turn 5 now. It's going to be very balanced. Keep the car stable. Almost too easy to lose the car through that section and push it a little bit too hard. Coming through the second sector now. We see the AlphaTauri yield. Let the fast driver on their lap go. So good sportsmanship as always to be expected here in PCF4. Coming through an entire second up now. So they could be on track to get a P7 if everything goes their way. They just need to nail this final sector. See what time they can really rein in. Looking very strong for the Red Bull. Final corner now, a little bit wide I'd say. Doesn't really push that full track. But it's still going to be a 15.5 and that's going to be P6.
Not bad, a good lap indeed. I just caught it from about turn 5, but a brilliant run from himself. Who else is on a run? I think both McLarens are on a run. Danny Coe, he is improved on his first sector. Well, he's coming across sector 2 mark and he's backing off. So not happy with his lap time, but we can jump straight to the other McLaren, who is still pushing. That'll be Justin well, you've corrected the name, and I've
Justin Ertz here coming through.
Yeah, you corrected me. I was doing so well with an incorrect name as he dived
heading into the pits as well.
Yeah.
Both McLarens choosing to yield. Interesting choice given the time constraint.
Finn has just put himself into 3rd place, dropping Johansson down into 4th. Is Nage on a lap? I don't think he is. Is he? No, he is. There's no flashing red light unless he is not planning to harvest, and he is massively pushing, coming across this delta line, and he has invalidation. Yeah.
Overextends, heading, unfortunately, out of turn 11. That's going to be flags, but almost kind of a good turn of events, I'd say, because you can see right now everyone's heading into the pits, because this is the point where you want to head in, and you want to get those fresh boots and fresh batteries out for the final 2 laps of running.
Yeah, and Calder's just crossed the line to set his lap time to put himself into P5, so he's not going to be in the most comfortable position, and that's going to be a bit annoying for himself. So, not getting ahead, the Season 28 PlayStation champion of Johansson, that was the bet that I had to say. As Tomasa comes out, I literally checked Discord, he messaged me the standing, and I was like, oh, that's what you're talking about. So he has been good. My facts are true. The man is good. He has been at top at some point. Tomas is currently going to be the first driver out, and 3 minutes to go. Bit early, isn't it?
A little bit early, but you can never be too careful. Remember, these are full push laps. Realistically, if you want to spend that first lap getting the heat into your tyres, making sure your batteries are fully primed and you're ready to go, you can give or take about 10-15 seconds onto that time, depending on how hard you're working them, like trying to rubber them in. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to head out now, especially if you want to get out ahead of any potential traffic.
Well, we're going to stay with Tomas, see what he can do. Can he get himself into the top 10? I'll leave the lap with you.
All right, so looking like a potential strong lap there. We will, of course, hop on board and see what he can do. But it's a big issue in terms of, say, like a little bit of ping spikes there. I don't know, really hard to read his car at the moment. Can't really gauge how well he's doing, so we might have to hop onto someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hop onto someone else. Is Harrington on a lap? Harrington, sorry. He is on a lap. We'll stick with Harrington. It's Jack Harrington. He's down in P16. He's 1.6 seconds behind the rest of the pack. But, oh no, just a bit too much throttle. And he goes for a spin. We're not going to get a last push lap, hot lap. So, who is in the head of the train?
I don't know. We'd say 1 minute 40 still. We can make it around the track again in that time. So it'll be tight.
Norwicki. Do you want Norwicki or do you want Johansson?
I would say I want to keep an eye on Norwicki. Because they have been a driver we've seen, like we say with a lot of these drivers, moments of brilliance interspersed with inconsistency. So I hope that Norwicki can really pull it together, as we do see a brief trade. Tomas come in P10. Is going to hop up the board by a couple spots, but looking to the other Aston Martin and the Wiki now, we're going to stay on board with them, see how they do. Gunning it down, start finish straight, almost about 200 miles an hour looks like there, but of course grip is everything. It's very much a handling focused circuit, especially as you get to some of the windier areas of the track. Tiny bit wide of apex there, but does nail it, coming out through turn 3, heading into turn 4 now, and full commit. Don't let it run wide. It is going to be tight, but they're going to keep it and make it stick, make it last. Turn 6 and 7 now. Brief test of braking. See a little bit of short shift heading into 4th there, making sure the car is stable, prioritizing the car making it round the track. So going for a little bit of safer running here, which I think is a good choice given that this is your last go. And even a small improvement could be the difference between P12 and jumping up quite a few places given the dense grid order. So final few corners here. And that's going to be, unfortunately, they are invalidated.
It's so unfortunate to see, especially on what would have been a good lap. So first across the line is going to be Johansson. Has he been able to improve? Stick the car onto pole. He comes up to line. It is good enough, and good enough by a 10th, 1:15.0 to start things off. Super Gaming cannot improve himself. Lund is quite far back, so who is next up the road? I've got Cawdor I'm catching an eye on. A few drivers are going to cross the line. I think amongst them, Finn's invalidated. So yeah, Cawdor is the next contender to try and knock the Season 28 champion.
I'll be keeping an eye on Soltest could make an improvement as well. Oh no, he's actually invalidated. Never mind. I'll hold my breath on that one.
Cawdor round the
yeah.
final corner. What can he do? Can he dethrone Johansson's victory in qualifying? Comes across the line. Only good enough for P4. We drop back to Lund. No, he's lost a front wing, so he can't do anything. Nage's not doing anything. Joris is plus on his time. The only last person, let's confirm, Zerky. Johansson's just got pole. My good dear friend. All the insults, all the tough love, and he's just got himself pole, and he is now DMing me on Steam going ha 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 ha.
The report is iconic. The report is absolutely iconic here. But wow, okay. Let's say everyone's sort of bringing it out swinging in the last few seconds. Super Gaming did try and chase down, but in the end, it was a single millisecond slower off his peak time. So definitely going to be pushing full tilt when it comes to race time. And yeah, Johansson, 0.034. So he's gone from a state of maybe having fluctuating performances to suddenly sitting on the pole by over a 10th.
That is some pace. He did say to me privately that this was, like, and as much as he jokes and says, this is my track, he said, no, genuinely, Reese, this is a track where I feel more confident. This is a track I have pace on. 10th faster. That says a lot. And it's a top 3 Swede line out. Johansson, Super Gaming, and Lund. Cawdor finds himself in 3rd, Finn in 5th, Nagy in 6th, Joris in 7th, not where he wants to be, especially in this championship fight. Justin Alters in 8th, Oski in 9th, Elliot Noren in 10th, Danny Coe in 11th, and I didn't get enough time to say everyone else.
And the rest of the grid's just further behind. I mean, you get everyone who has their track, in air quotes, where you may have weaker tracks, you may have stronger tracks, but everyone has that one. That one circuit, that one condition where they come alive. So we see here, this is Johansson's track through and through. Can he keep it in the race? I do wonder. I'm very curious to see how he holds under that race pressure. But with quali especially, we really get to see, okay, this is this person's track. This is this driver's main specialty. And suddenly F4 is looking like they're bringing F3, F2, heck, even F1 pace into this.
Yeah, they are bringing that pace into it. And you're right in saying that, you know, when you have someone's track, it's their feel, it's their rhythm, it's their ride. And the one thing Johansson needs to keep an eye out for is time penalties, because he can hold himself very nicely when he's in that first place. It's just keeping an eye of keeping all 4 wheels in, and with the clock reaching 0, well, we don't have to wait much longer. 3, 4, 5 lights are showing. Keep an eye on that Haas driver. What can he do today as the lights are out and we are racing once again, and already some great launches. Wow. Wow, Lund's got a good launch, and now that's going to be on the back burner, because down the inside, Cawdor is going to try and split them up, and what was looking to be such a good start, Johansson finds himself down in 4th, but there's going to be a 3-way battle into turn 2, the inside line in favour for the Haas driver. He's trying to get his elbows out. He's done well so far, but he might have to sacrifice 2nd place, but he's still not giving in. He's going to have the inside line into turn 4 here. Is he committing? It looks close, but there's contact, and that's going to be with Zerky and Cawdor dropping down the field. We just caught that on camera as well. But critically, Johansson into 3rd. He can allow the front 2 to scrap, but it's not where he wants to be.
We did see initial bits of scrap between, say, the likes of, say, Johansson, maybe, say, Finn, Super Gaming, Leo London getting a brilliant jump on the rest of the competition, nailing the launch there. Really sets him up well for the race, and that resurgence from the P3 quali. And looking at the rest of the field, it does look like There was a few drivers caught in the crossfire, so I'm seeing a little bit of damage here and there around the field, not just the affected drivers like Cordon. We may see a few drivers heading into the pits very soon, but all of them, bar Cordon himself, are opting to stay out despite a couple of damage readings I'm picking up.
Well, it's a bit early. Would you really sacrifice that as Johansson goes down to the inside? He has just he's trying to reclaim the position. He does, but in doing so, he's allowed Lund to get ahead for 1.1 seconds, so extra work is needed to close the gap to the 13-year-old and fellow countryman. That's the problem when you get too aggressive off the start, is you allow your competitors to get ahead.
Yeah, you got to really find that fine balance between standing your ground and pushing for more. If you go too aggressive, it's like what we see is a classic. If you're overtaking, attacking versus defending, you put everything into attack and it doesn't work, you leave yourself wide open for anyone who's gunning for your spot. So you go too deep into a corner, you commit all your ERS to a move, and then you've got nothing to retaliate with when, say, the driver behind you comes knocking.
Looking a bit further back, as the F1 game is predicting strategies, I think that's a load of baloney in my eyes. Danny Coe, we spoke about him being briefly on pole in the qualifying session, down in P8, and in essentially what looks to be a really close battle in a pocket from Oski all the way down to 14th, which is Akos. As you can just see in the background, that's going to be Joris going to be getting past Zerky, and that was nicely done. But yeah, Danny Coe's in that midfield. He's applying the pressure, but not having, well, I wouldn't say, it's a bit early to say not having a great day, but probably not feeling too well in this position.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck in this awkward middle ground right now. Of course, he can push up against Nage and try and go for that P7, but that leaves him out of luck with the DRS, especially now that that has been enabled, given we've got to lap 3. So really, what is best for him to do here is, I think, just stay where he is. He tails off Nage. Nage's, of course, going to push to try and regain that 1 second barrier. And then once he is still within that range, although we are seeing a couple of networking hiccups, once he is within that range, of course, he's going to get the toe off Nage, so they're going to mutually get closer and then pick off the scraps once he's used up everything.
Super Gaming, he's actually dropped off. I'm going to draw our attention back to the front. He's now a second behind and going past the detection zone as well. So I don't think that rear wing is open. No. So Alexander Johansson has found himself in a nice situation. Yes, he's lost out to Lund, but he's also gained on Super Gaming and the gap that he has, so he doesn't have that full pressure coming at him.
I don't know, I'd say he's more of a precarious position than he might think. He is right on the edge.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because the battle of Danny Coe is just opened up because Nage and Danny Coe are fighting. He has to back out, but Nage going down the inside. He's had to cut the corner, and he's just pushed Danny Coe wide. And Nage has just opened a can of worms because Zerky's now going to get involved to try and get past Nage and Joris and... Wait, Johansson! Why is Johansson back here? He has somehow made a mistake, ghosted amongst this pack, and all the good work, all the hard work has gone to mess. And he's amongst the mid-pack trying to fight his way through. And what a place to find himself in, because now he's got to really fight on probably overheated tyres. Oh, not his day. Once again, something happens, and it is just disaster upon disaster as Goji's going to get past Norwicki as battles for the last point position is going to unfold as well. And it's pure disappointment, and I think, I'm going to be real with you, Joris has a good run. And I think he might mount up a move down onto the outside. No. Good, strong defensive move from Zerky.
Danny Coe's still in the heat of the mix. He's still in P6 right now, fighting against Oski. Really trying to go for it. There's big contact between the two. Almost looks like ping pong as they're going through, coming out of, see, turn 3, 4 here. And they're looking like a game of ping pong. Johansson runs wide as well, coming through everyone's trading spots. Joris is in the heat of the mix, as Zerky's also joining in on the action. Nage went in for a front wing repair. Joris is going to have to go for a front wing repair. His front right end plate is completely gone, nowhere to be seen. Everyone's getting way too close for comfort, I'd say, at some of these points on the track, as we've got quite a few drivers, both AlphaTauris, and now going to be a Williams heading into the pits to replace parts.
Yeah, Johansson's lost his front right end plate, so that's why he's getting out the way. He's playing the respectful game, not holding up too much of the drivers, so he's letting cars pass, and especially his teammate, but I feel here he's going to go a bit more defensive to try and aid his teammate, but you could see there's just no grip on that car, and that's just going to spark up a bit more battle, and he does stay out, even with the broken end plate. And yeah, look at the traction difference. Goji is going to make an easy and light work from it. He decides to go around the inside now, so he switches against it, but Johansson still playing the team game, holding off the Mercedes as long as he can, but he's not going to have much to fight here anymore.
I was going to say, watch him play the team game here. Very smart move in trying to help out his teammate. You've seen Iwiki make a tiny bit of contact with that Haas, but really, staying out that extra lap is going to be a godsend for Zerki. He's got his own space now. He's going to be able to catch up to the likes of the front runners, Danny Coe, Oski, and it's going to be very beneficial, especially that Johansson is really showing his strength in defending, placing his car right at the awkward place where you have not enough space on the inside and just enough on the outside to really put yourself out of kilter.
Yeah, and Norwicki is probably boiling right now. Face plum red, steam coming out of his ears. He's probably pissed off at this point, and here comes a turn 12. I said they're rare, but it seems like Norwicki's thinking, yeah, I've got an opportunity here, but he doesn't have the pace just yet, because still that Haas driver holding his ground. Johansson showing what defensive move he does have, and he finally will let the cars go and come into the pits to change his front wing. But what a disappointment.
I would still say that he played the situation to the best of his ability there. We see Danny Coe, though, just slightly further ahead. He's going for a little bit of an aggressive move on Oski, trying to go for a dive on the inside. Doesn't manage to make it connect, but he is still definitely putting the pressure on that Williams, making sure he absolutely knows what he's up against.
I don't think these drivers are out of this race yet. So I know Johansson, yeah, he's having to pit. He's now going to come out in P12 with about massive gaps between them. But the way these guys are fighting today, I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a safety car to be pulled out due to contact and someone going into the wall. It's not unheard of, because the walls aren't massively wide, but it takes one clip, and say going in the exit of turn 11 here, you're right into the wall, and that's your front wheel gone.
Johansson is into the wall as well. Had to reset, in fact, onto the track as he's down in P16. He got himself stuck and is had to reset on the track in dead last. Only ahead of Jack Harrington, who DNF'd, who quit in the pit lane earlier. Lap
8, and we're watching Danny Coe. We're kind of expecting something. I'm just picturing the Incredibles and the kid going, Mr. Incredible going, what do you want? I don't know, something amazing! That is what we're waiting for. I don't know why that was running through my head. Danny Coe looks to the outside. He is going to do something amazing. He's going to stick it around the outside. There we go. Mr. Incredible did ask right. And through the inside, he will get the move after banging wheels with Oski.
A little bit of wheel banging there, as we do see some drivers on medium runs. Of course, coming out of the pits from earlier damage has given them a little bit of free space, so they can do some damage control with fastest lap denial. 118.8 from Joris. It's going to put him in good stead. And if he can keep that pace up, maybe start to close some gaps, but with the gap between Soltes and Nage being 18 seconds, I wouldn't hold my breath. I will hold my breath, however, for maybe Zerki and Oski looking to have a clash. And say Oski's going to be pushing to try and catch up to Danny Coe. But Zerki's patiently biding his time. He's got a lot more battery than Oski over there in the Williams. And he's watching the two fight, trying to sort of gauge and learn where they're currently at. The minute he sees those recharge lights, he's going to know, okay, I have the advantage here. I could potentially go for a move.
And it's always a joy. I love to see the recharge lights, and you can only imagine what feeling you get when you see the recharge lights, and you look down at your steering wheel and go, ha, I got more. The best feeling ever, but again, as you mentioned, they're going to bide their time. There's no point rushing because we're not at the pit stop phase. There's no point necessarily to make a bold move that's going to drain your race and you're not going to be able to pull away. Play it calm. You know, even if you do get past Danny Coe, there's still a 6.6 second gap which you have to play with to get up to his to the McLaren's teammate.
Yeah, now it really is a game of time. You look at the top end of the field, everyone for the most part is split by over a second. So the top 3 drivers, Lund, Super Gaming and Finn, not going to get a time within 1 second, meaning they're not going to have the DRS. We do start to see the warnings stack up a little bit for a few drivers. So for example, Akos, he's on 2 warnings right now. We've got a few drivers on a single warning. So Finn, Zerky, and then we have a few people who may be getting a little bit close to the line, trying to close some gaps. But yeah, everyone's fairly split out. So the option here is really none other than to play the long game. Play your scenario rather than your opponents.
Yeah, and poor Oski, he's found himself a second behind Danny Coe, so no DRS for him, so that might help in Zerky's case as well. We will quickly just drop to Norwicki down in P9 as he's getting nice and close to the Mercedes driver ahead of him. Is he going to look for a move down the inside? No, not close enough yet, but that battle's brewing a little bit as well. So dotted battles here and there, but the majority of the field nice and calm. Is he going to look down the inside into turn 4? It is an area. You can do it. You don't have DRS to assist you. But hey, why not? Why not go for the move if you got the pace?
I think the key here is that Nowicki's going to be patient. He's going to be patient. Like we say, you play the scenario, you play for time. Because I think Nowicki knows in the back of his mind that regardless of what advantages he has, the minute he gets past Goji, he's got those 3.5 seconds that he's going to have to make up. And he's a sitting duck without that DRS to pull him along too. So I think playing a little bit of a longer game, maybe even looking into over or undercuts in conjunction with maybe Tamas, a little bit of communication there to decide when they're going to pit. But I think the strategy gains might be more beneficial rather than going for anything hyper aggressive. Although saying that, he is going to go for a big gun heading into the first corner. So maybe he is going for that full push. He's looking to make up that 3.5 on track. Goji, is he going to get a return send? No, of course he got the second DRS for Nowicki here. And that is going to get a clean break for the Aston Martin.
It's now got to put the pace in. You said it there and then. You've now got to put your foot down, see if you can create the second gap. And once you have that, then you're in a good position. You can then try and catch up to the driver ahead, as Johansson demonstrates. He's still got pace. But the tyre situation for Nowicki against Goji, it's a bit mixed because Goji's tyre was 25-23, while Nowicki was 25-24. So
negligible.
Yeah. It is negligible, but even so, the slightest percentage, and especially amongst these drivers, could be the difference we see.
Well, I think the difference can also come down to driving style. So you can learn a lot about drivers' sort of way of driving, how they tend to approach the car and the race based on their tyre wear. So, for example, you have a lot more worn fronts than rears. That indicates that they may be looking for a little bit more turn-in. They're able to handle the car maybe being a little bit more skittish if they get that early turn-in better than the other drivers. Inversely, you're going for high speed, you typically tend to see the rear being a little bit more loaded as you're looking to maximize your speed, also reduce the drag, but it is wanting stability in a lot of cases. You learn a lot about drivers through maybe sometimes simple things as much as setup. In this scenario, though, we do start to see clouds maybe coming over the horizon. And maybe it's placebo effect, but I'm seeing a lot more grey clouds than we did in the start.
Yeah, it does look a bit cloudy as we are watching Johansson get himself up into 14th, showing that no matter where he is, he'll still entertain us. And it is the only battle that is really happening. We have Zerky as well, battling for P6, but he's a bit far back and he's not pressing. we are going to get this, and especially around the Hungaroring, and I think that's why people don't necessarily like Hungary, because it can become stale, it becomes dragged, there's not always battles. But it does go to show the natural pace some of these drivers have, and Johansson's demonstrating this today. Even though he's at the back, he's put on a fresh set of boots, he's the quickest, and already within, what, half a lap, he's ahead by a second of Tomas.
Yeah, it really is showing the strengths of some of these drivers overall. And although it may not be the most exciting on our end, I said it time and time again, but for a driver, the best race is a quiet one. So for these guys here, especially the likes of the top end of the field, so Lund, Super Gaming, Finn, these top 3 drivers right now, they are looking very fine and dandy. Yes, they might not be pushing for higher spots. I know Super Gaming, though, is catching up on Leo Lund, trying to make that 1 second barrier. But really, especially if I'm sitting in that top spot, and especially in Super Gaming's case, as Lund has just extended 1 time too many, 3 seconds to his name, suddenly Super Gaming is feeling a lot more comfortable, as he's had no fighting, no speed loss so far, and is potentially about to inherit the top spot by time penalty. Can he do it on track, though?
It's going to be a tough ask. These tyres have done 14 laps. They're coming near to the end of their life, but so is Leo Lund ahead. So we'll have to see. It's not over and done with. And he is teetering on that second We'll see, because technically Super Gaming doesn't have to fight this. He can sit where he is, decide, right, let's focus on making sure I stay between those white lines and not overextend the car. But then there's that feeling of pride. You want to cross that line first, so you can say, hand on heart, I won this race, not by a technicality. So, I don't know. I don't know what Super Gaming's going to do.
It definitely is a pride thing. Let me tell you now, regardless of that penalty, he's still going to push. If nothing else, than to consolidate his advantage against the likes of Finn. Drivers, on the whole, they settle things on the track. They don't settle things in the steward's room. They don't settle things in a staff chat, in a staff hearing with steward's inquiries. They want to settle things on the track, fair and square, mono a mono. And that is where the heart of this competition lies. So, of course, as we see now, Super Gaming, within 8 attempts, unfortunately slightly late of the detection zone, but he is going to continue to push. I wonder, however, because now it's definitely not placebo effect. The track is getting cloudier. I wonder if they're going to stick out onto the hards, maybe extend the life of those tyres, because they're only on about 35 to 40% right now. I wonder if they're going to extend them until such a time as it maybe starts raining. Take a bit of a chance.
Yeah, I'm looking at this cloud. Every time you mention it, I have a brief look and just go, okay, it's getting interesting. But yeah, the extension is a possibility. I don't know how well your telemetry is working today. What's the percentage chance at the moment?
Okay, so as it stands, 17%, but in the next 5 minutes, it could go to 21. Next 10 minutes, it could go to 40. Ooh. And in 15, it can go to 68. Just one short, but we'll take it.
It could be. It's a very much could situation. And, I can't judge that, because look at those clouds. That is definitely not placebo effect. They are coming, and they're going to come hurling in, and it's known to have a wet Hungarian race. I mentioned about 2021. That was a perfect example of it. It started off raining before the race started. They go out for their formation lap. Next thing you know, it's bone dry.
It is a very volatile track. And in the time that you've said that, we've gone from 68% in 15 minutes to 72. So I think we are very much going to see quite a few drivers take a chance till they can get on maybe the inters.
And of course, the runners who, as you probably saw just a moment ago, who were on the mediums, that is from Nagate downwards, all had contact off the get-go. I don't know how much the game would give that information, but seeing the clouds themselves, it's probably a kick up the backside. One, the fact they're out of the points, but two, to then know that they're on those medium tyres. They've already done a few laps on those tyres. how much can you extend those mediums as well to get to the point where inters are going to be helpful?
That's very much a gamble right now, as we can see Nage getting another 3 seconds to his name. Unfortunately, I don't have any data on medium runners. Actually, we do have a little bit of info from Cordon, and it's looking... Actually, might be a rounding error there, because it's reporting the same numbers as the hards, despite being a completely different and much softer compound. So I can't really gauge the mediums, unfortunately. There's not much we can run from it, but I know that regardless, unless they are at risk of maybe delamination or a puncture, they're going to extend those mediums, because to make another stop just to go back in for a wet compound is going to be pointless, regardless of the time losses.
The track is physically getting darker, and I'm going to start riding more and more on board, because the first sign you know when it's time to rain is there will be a lovely streak that runs off the halo and off the main part of the body. I say that while spitting on my screen. I got excited for a second. But that will be your first sign to work out if it's raining. But look at those clouds, that onboard shot as I'm driving with Zerky. Wow, yeah. Well, we said it was going to be boring. I don't think so anymore.
Well, they say the game works off a percentile system when it comes to weather, so it's not fully deterministic. It is working off a probability based on time intervals and basically a rising or falling ratio depending on what you set. So as it stands, 20% right now, 29% in 5 minutes, 58%, massive jump in the next 10, and then 86 in 15 minutes time. So I think it's all but guaranteed. As you can even see now, a bit of haze, a little bit of fog starting to fall over the track too. Matter of time.
Yeah, and I tell you who's not going to be waiting for the wets. It's going to be Zerky, as he looks to go round the outside into turn 1. We saw Oski getting his rear end out quite a bit. He's not confident with the car right now, but he's going to do what he can to hold the Haas behind him. But the Haas looking to go round the outside, which will then grant him access to the inside, but the switchbackaroo is not going to work. He's going to switch back again into turn 3, and it's a run all the way down to turn 4. Is Zerky got it? No. So once again, he's going to have to wait patiently behind the Williams driver, who's been teasing him throughout this race. And Zerky clearly is the quicker driver.
He's just waiting, biding his time, but he can't. He has no time. Very shortly, can expect the DRS to get disabled. And as soon as that happens, that is the death nail to anyone trying to make a challenge on track right now. Everyone's going to be rushing into the pits. So he's going to have to beg and pray that he has that clean break in this next upcoming section. The 2 DRS zones are going to be crucial to getting this move done.
Yeah, 74% on the right rear left of Oski. 44 for Zerky. So a noticeable difference. And this is why you're seeing Oski not having that same grip level. Maybe he's overworked that tyre just a bit too much, and once again he's having to go defensive, and the flashing red light of death is not going to help as well, because Zerky once again is going to try and mount another move. The red light's giving all the motivation that Zerky needs, but wow, Oski is still holding back the Haas driver, even with no battery. And his tyres are shot as well. Well, not in the completely shot, but they're not in a great position here.
Yeah, it's looking like a very tough one right now. I'd say Zerky did have a bit of momentum to get that move done, but that tiny contact with Oski coming out the first corner was all it needed to effectively kill it in its tracks. Because when you make contact with another driver, especially forward momentum, your car effectively connects with the other. So any advantage you gain on that front is lost. So with that, even if not intentional, that tiny touch has laid to ruin the move for that lap. With an extension from Oski, you can tell that he really is struggling to keep it together.
I don't know if my graphics card is dying, but I swear I saw spots of rain. Nothing on the onboard. Nothing proving it is. Might be just my graphics card dying, but it is close. It seriously is close to the point where we might be seeing it, and we're going to ride on board with Zerky as he mounts yet another move. He's depleted all of his ERS. He's got a bit more of a confident position. He actually gained the position, a little bit of contact between Oski and Zerky, And once again, this time to the inside, forced right onto the grass. And Zerky makes the move, and he has gone deep, allowed the position back, but luckily has that inside line to save him. But he has used everything to make that move, and Norwicki's probably thinking to himself, well, you two can scrap, because Norwicki's sitting in a prime position. He's looking at them with half a battery and going, hey, I'm going to say thank you to this.
Yeah, I say Kozlowski's not looking much better. They both put absolutely everything into their respective attack and defenses. So now Nowicki is in, as you say, prime position. Like a vulture, he's silently waiting for the animals below to scrap and then to take the remains and take ultimate victory potentially over these two if he plays his cards right. But it does look like streaks are starting to appear. That's Rain.
Yeah, it does look like it. Yeah, there it is. Confirmation, streaks running down. The track is wet, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 21, these drivers have held it out. The front runners have been on their tyres for 20 laps. The people on the mediums have extended them out to 15 laps. And now, who's going to be the first to go into the pits? Because Super Gaming is putting pressure onto Lund. He's trying to make a move onto track. DRS has been disabled. So anyone who was wanting to mount an attack, it's getting even harder. Justin in P4, he's also closed up onto Alessandro Finn. And he too might want a fresh take at the P3 spot. It's all to play for now.
It's all jumping in there. And you can see Joris, first one to hop onto the inters, quick to jump on this situation and try and flex his superior positioning in this case. Because you can see already the track is getting littered with sheen, with shine, the reflectiveness of the track, and all of the raindrops coming down now onto the car. So it really is coming through on the rain.
Both P1, P2, Lund and Super Gaming. You're getting close, depending on the rulings, how the stewards like to run. That was getting a little too close to say about the white line. But look at the percentages. 59% on the right rear and now onto the inters. That is close. And I think the McLarens are double stacking as well. How much is Danny Coe going to be affected? It's halted. It's slower than normal.
For a split second.
Yeah. He's not going to lose out too much, but it's still going to hurt him.
Yeah, of course. What can you do, though, in that situation? The time that you'd lose from waiting a lap to go and avoid the double stack is going to be much greater. So it swings and roundabouts. It's finding that balance. Everyone has poured into the pits. Double stacks be damned. You've got to get onto those inters. The rain has come on and it's come on strong.
It is pouring it down, so visible now. And the question is, now that percentage of chance, I said to you before, there is a small percentage that we will get a safety car. The track, you know, there are areas where it's very easy to lose your front wheel and cause damage. Now we're in harsher conditions. The grip is a lot lower. We're early onto these tyres. They haven't got up to the right optimal temperature, though it won't take long. Who's going to go into a wall and who's going to create that safety car? And that's something we will have to factor in.
So let's hope it doesn't go to a safety car, but I would be quite nervous if I was Leo Lund right now. Just because you've got what was a very stable position is now looking a lot more volatile. He's got swings and roundabouts. He's got no DRS to contend with, so he's not going to have Super Gaming sneaking up on him, pulling a fast one. But he's also got very rapidly changing track conditions, and when you've got the muscle memory, almost the mental conditioning to the dry environment, when that suddenly turns wet, without a hard switch in your brain, almost like programmed into yourself with enough wet practice, you're going to be looking at a very severe adjustment period.
Massively severe adjustment period, though at the moment he is doing all right. Timing wise, he's kept the Alfa Romeo roughly the same distance. So he just needs to keep doing what he is doing. Again, as you mentioned, get over that adjustment period, find that muscle memory once again, and just play with it. Though, I spoke too soon, because through this second sector, Super Gaming is looking very fine, and he has closed down quite nicely. So, London needs to really hurry up this transitional section and put his foot down. You can already see into turn 12 he was defending. He knows he's a lot slower. So that bodes the question, how much wet practice has Lund had on this game? Because Super Gaming's feeling quite confident here. He's happy with where he is. As they round the final corner, is Super Gaming close enough? Of course, overtakes are naturally harder in the wet conditions because you only have your ERS. But down the straight we go. The Alfa Romeo sitting comfortably. But nothing into turn 1. There is an opportunity again into turn 2. Remember, no DRS to assist. But that Mercedes not looking comfortable. Again, wiggling around, squirming, trying to find the grip. But nothing to be found. And I don't think on this lap Super Gaming will have anything.
Well, don't forget the setup aspect of this equation. We could have had drivers who maybe looked a little bit forecasting. If you've got a race engineer, one of the great things is where you get telemetry, you also get a little bit of early read. Not precise, but early read on predictions of how the race is going to go in terms of weather. So maybe they would have thought ahead with that and put on a wet setup potentially, or at least a setup that's more stable, so that if the situation does turn, then the car will be a little less skittish, a little less volatile. Aggressive driving styles and very dry setups, as in very quick to turn in, are not doing you any favours in this scenario. And Nowicki has just got the short end of the stick with a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, massive short end of the stick, and we're riding on board with Super Gaming. It's the only place where the action really is, except for Johansson down in 14th. Trying to put himself into 13th, but still no points. And look how unconfident that Mercedes is. Going massively wider, not playing the aggressive line, but it will help him with a little slingshot. I honestly think, and this is just a prediction, I don't think Lund will be first at the end of this race. I just don't feel there is that same confidence Super Gaming has. A lot more control. You're looking at the steering wheel. Yeah, there's some micro adjustments that you will naturally see, but nothing that is really unsettling this Alfa Romeo right now.
Yeah, the Alfa Romeo Super Gaming looks a lot more confident in this scenario, especially when you compare it up ahead to Leo Lund. So at the start-finish straight, we saw quite a bit of wiggling from that W13 there. And by comparison, the Super Gaming Alfa Romeo, but saying that, Leo Lund's lost it!
Oh! He's in the wall, he's out!
He's lost it! He's in the wall, he's lost a wheel. That
Safety
is
car!
full core.
Oh!
A race leader down.
Not only our race leader, our championship leader. Oh, wow.
Joris is going to be jumping on this hard if he can. Danny Coe is looking suddenly a lot more strong in terms of potentially jumping points. The other championship contenders are licking their lips right now.
This will mean that the race definitely cannot, well, the championship definitely cannot be decided in Saudi Arabia if, and this is the massive if, Joris stays where he is. You know, actually, yeah, no, even if Joris didn't score on the points, 9-point gap, yeah, everything will still go down to Brazil. So we are going to have a championship deciding battle in Brazil.
Can't wait. But looking at the now, looks like Super Gaming is going to inherit lead of the race. Even though he was going to on paper, thanks to a 3-second penalty, I think Lund just really did not have the confidence in the wet. And we found that breaking point coming up into turn 6, where he just lost the car. And now the full core is out. All the big gaps are going to get equalized, which is great news for the likes of Goji, Nage, Norin, Tamas, all having massive gaps to the rest of the field. Music to their ears.
I'll tell you who else this benefits. Danny Coe. He's up in P4. Didn't have the best qualifying. We saw him last time in P8. He slowly made his way up through the field. But tell you what that does for his championship. He's currently in P4. So he's going to get, what, 10 points? Sorry, no. 8 points out of this race. That's going to bump him up from 22. Oh, I can't do maths in my head. 22 take 8. What? 14 points behind. So coming into Saudi Arabia, 14 points behind the championship leader. Possibly 8 points, 9 points behind Joris with his current position. he's potentially brought himself back into this championship fight. Yes, it's a long stretch, but with the likes of Saudi, a very long street circuit, very fast pace, and we have seen safety cars because of small errors. It's all possible. It is possible for Danny Coe to take this championship with no wins to his name.
It's very possible, although in this scenario, if he could get a win, he would be a very prominent championship threat. He does have a good position right now because he's looking up ahead. You got Etz up in P2, his teammate, so he could get some support there. Maybe a little bit of team play between the two. You got Finn splitting them and then Super Gaming up top. Now, Super Gaming has shown his confidence. Finn, maybe say, struggled a little bit with controlling the car, but Etz being in P2 is the big X factor that could see a McLaren surge up to the top end.
Ertz is in P9 in this championship, and the people around him is people he's fighting with. The likes of Super Gaming is someone he will definitely want to have a battle with, because essentially this will be, he's in P6, P9, gaps are not too far away, so yeah, them two are going to try and fight amongst each other, because this is for pride. This is actually for major jumping in this championship as well. So I want to say, yeah, the team play will be favourable, but this is PSGL. This isn't the any of the team game leagues. This is the player game leagues. This is individual. So yes, he could. I don't think he will choose to.
Yeah, maybe. Of course, so when we're talking about drivers, it's a game not only of strategy, of wit, of pure racing prowess, but it's also one of pride. So while we do have teams on constructors on paper, when it comes down to race time, you are driving for you. It's the choice of the drivers, not the obligation. If they want to coordinate and have some team play, even have comms between them, they could race in complete isolation if they wanted to, if that's what suits them. But given how Danny Coe is near the top spot and could be in a position where he could jump, there might be an edge case where championships are suddenly going to get a lot closer. Although looking at the rest of the field, some of them are going on to full wets. Do you think that's the play?
Ooh, I don't know. That rain is coming down pretty hard. I didn't even realise people had gone to the full wets. Who's done it? Tomas, Nage. We'll keep an eye out. We will keep an eye out, see how they're feeling. Like, the drivers haven't shown any sign of not being controlled under the car. Like, you can see Danny Coe, he's nicely wiggling quite a bit, so, and he's not losing the rear end all too much, so it's hard. It's hard. We'll have to look and see.
Yeah, because time will tell. The rain doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. It's looking, according to all my numbers, like it's going to be raining, even getting into full stormy conditions as we go deeper into the race. But 7 laps to go means that time is running short. So I wonder whether it's a bit premature to call the wets, because we might not even see the full conditions when Inter start to get overwhelmed.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, is the simple answer. And there's nothing more that we can say about it except for let's wait and see what happens, and we just go from there.
Best we really can do. And we should get a call soon for the safety car to be coming in. Whether is it going to lap? There it is. There's the call. Safety car in this lap. Super Gaming from this point controls the pace. Now in the wet, your startup off of a safety car is a little bit different. You can't really get that same jump that you can in dry conditions because you have to be a lot more careful with the car, especially gunning it on the throttle. You're asking for wheel spin and you're asking to drop the rear, so it's going to be a little bit more predictable. Though that said, this is tight on him.
Yeah, he's very, very tight, and Justin will do what he can. He actually makes the jump in the middle of the corner, so they go once again, and we're racing under wet conditions. How the tables have turned, and we're seeing the drivers do what they can immediately. Actually, it's Danny Coe. He's trying to get right up the rear end of the Ferrari driver, goes round the outside and makes the jump early. He knows this is potentially, if he's been listening in, this is for a major championship points here, as he is going to go and take the position. That's now 10 points for himself, but he has to hold off the Ferrari who's pushed him wide, and through goes Zerky, who says, thank you very much, I will take that position from you, and more work now for Danny Coe.
Yes, a big jumbles around the rear of the field, as well as you can see Norin drops off in a big way. You've got the trades between the likes of, say, Soltes, Johansson, Joris in P10 now, and we are seeing the rest of the field really trying to push here. I'm curious, though, for Nage, because Nage is on the full wet, and this might be the best demonstration as he's fighting against Goji right now. But gonna say tap on the side, or at least bumping into Goji. He's gonna see him drop all the way down to P14. So I'll bite my tongue next time.
Yeah, definitely bite your tongue. The only other person is Tomas, but we've known he's had some connection problems. And who's that going side by side? That is Johansson and Akos. And is Johansson going to salvage some points here? He's actually genuinely... Look! Oh, just when I spoke as well. Both of us committing commentators' curses. I think we should stay silent for the rest of the race.
Well, that would be boring. Where's the fun in that? Joris is going to be chasing down Goji right now. He's going to be going full push on the overtake button. Is Goji going to respond? Yes, he's given some overtake himself, but the slipstream is going to help the Williams out here. He's going to be firing it into turn one. He's going to get it on lock with the inside line. Are we going to see any counters from Goji? Nope, doesn't look like it. Dropping off massively, heading through into the later corners. Looks like a clean move for Joris up into P8.
Yeah, the front runners are all spreading out as well, so they're unable to really claim positions. But that, I said that, and the time board's just shifting around. I think we're getting too wet for these intermediates now. A lot of these drivers are just they're not being consistent. They're not finding that grip, and you can see the little shuffle Super Gaming was doing on the exit of the corner, which is extremely dangerous to have, because you could push yourself onto the grass and then that slows you even further down, especially in that section of the track.
Yeah, that wiggle, it's not just a knock to your raw pace, but it's a knock to your confidence. If you're having to catch the car, adjust the car, subconsciously, even if you don't realize it, you are letting off just a couple percent relative to how far you're going. And while that's good to keep the car reined in, it happens too much and you overcompensate, so you're not actually using the full potential and pace of your equipment, meaning the likes of Ertz, who would have in another life been in the DRS detection range, but unfortunately with the wets it is going to get no such benefits, might be coming up hot to try and make a challenge, and slipstream is a factor still.
Yeah, Danny Coe, he's done some good work. He's been able to close himself down, so still trying to get that podium position, one that he was fighting for, but Finn pushed him wide just here. He pushed him wide into turn 2, and he's going to eye up Zerky. This is a bit personal, because Zerky just got himself a free ticket into P3. And Danny Coe needs this. As I said, every point is going to help towards his championship battle, and to bring him back into contention to potentially winning this.
He really could be the swing, the decider here. And yeah, Zerky capitalized well on that situation for sure. So I don't blame him absolutely one bit. The question really, for me, is does he have the time? 4 laps to go. Very soon going to be 3. Zerky is 2 seconds behind, so he's not a threat to Ertz. But if Danny Coe can get by in these next few laps and lock it in, then that is crucial points with that P3.
Yeah, Zerky's not even in this necessarily in this championship fight. He's down in P16. He's only got 12 points to his name, which would be one of the best finishes he's ever had. 2 6 points plus a fastest lap in favour to him, and it's going to be good to be, even if it's P4, I'm sure he'd be happy with his position, but to come out with a podium in this season, that's a greater feeling again. And the runners behind him is something we do have to keep an eye out on because they're all catching up amongst each other. Joris is really closing up onto Norwicki, so a move might happen soon, and Nage, who was on those wet tyres, has found himself into the wall, and that has caused a safety car on the last few laps.
Okay, this just got a little bit... Yeah, Nage completely losing the car in the wall means that now we could potentially see a last-minute desperate shootout for the final standings. The gap's going to be closed. Zerki's going to be right on it. Danico's going to be right on Zerki. Finn is going to be back in the fold, and with his aggressive driving we saw against Danico, we could see a bit more of a challenge and one that might be personal, trying to retake that position. But yeah, of course, with the game hard-coded to get 2 laps of normal race running, regardless of the conditions, this is going to be a final shootout.
Now, I'm keeping the tyres up because I'm just waiting to see who is going to make that decision to go on the wets. Are they feeling this track's a bit too sketchy and they need to make that call? The front two aren't doing it.
Well, I don't think at the top anyone is going to...
It seems silly, but if you don't have the grip and you were struggling on those last few laps, then yeah, you might decide to do it. And then if those wet tyres were super good, you could fly past everybody. But we'll have to wait and see. So we're going to have 1 lap under the safety car before we get racing once again. There is the Aston Martin safety car.
I'll say, I raise you this. If you're in the top spots and you head into the pits for wets, especially now that the full queue is catching up to the safety car fast, you come through, say, P13. The wets will be faster, yes, but are they 12 positions in 2 laps faster? That's the question that a lot of these top drivers in the upper half of the grid are asking themselves. And for them, no amount of pace gain is going to offset the 10-ish positions that they will lose. So for the likes of the bottom end of the field, in fact, we see drivers like Akos and Tamas swapping off of the wets onto inters. So almost going backwards. But with that time that they don't have to maximize the wets, nobody's really going to go for it unless you're maybe at the last spot and you think, well, what do I have to lose?
Yeah, and also, just to note, Johansson P11, he's 1 position away to get himself back into the points, so he will walk out of today with at least something to say, I did good today. Safety car in this lap, and yeah, we know the tyres are completely fine. We don't need that stat on the screen. Shoo-shoo. As we're going to get racing once again, safety car, effectively Super Gaming will once again become the safety car of this race, and the call was made. It was made at a reasonable time. I thought we were a different part of the track, but will Super Gaming once again pounce on the middle of the corner once again, or is he going to spice it up this time? We wait patiently. He makes the pounce now. He's going, and gone, and he's going to try and pull away of Justin once again. He did it once, but now he has to do it again. But Justin has timed this right, and he's going to go all out. He's going to look for what he can. He looks to the inside, but decides he can't make the move here. Oski is also, Joris, sorry, going to try go down the inside of Norwicki, and Norwicki pushes himself massively wide with no traction as well. But Oski ahead of Joris, also too, doesn't have much grip, and slowly Joris is gaining positions, and Super Gaming and Justin have swapped positions up ahead. So all the hard work from Super Gaming has come to nothing. He will not claim first place after sitting behind Lund all this time. He will remain in second place, and Joris has just got past Oski, and still the gap closes down. It's not enough to claim the championship. To do that, he'd have to get P4.
The wild card is Joris in this scenario. He's filing up the field slowly. He seems to have a lock on this close grid.
Oh my god, look at P8. Look at the battle for P8. I'm sorry to interrupt. 3 wide into the S's of turn 8. You just don't see that, and you can't write it. Johansson battling it out, trying to get past the Mercedes. He has done indeed. He's now in the points for himself. And you have to draw yourself again to the front, because it's going to be Danico and Finn are also going to be battling out on the straight.
Yeah, Danico's trying to play that defensive game and say already 1.2 seconds between Zerky and Super Gaming. So safe to say those two are a little bit of a world of their own as we come through to the final lap here. Zerky is on the push to try and regain any time he can. Danico and Finn have a bit of spacing, but Joris is going to be eagerly peeking. We see just in the corner glint is that Williams chasing down the Ferrari, looking for any opportunity he has. He's got the battery, he's on full push. This is a driver on a mission right now. You see him looking for inside opportunity. He is going to try and get the pass. He is going to get nose side with the car of a Finn just up ahead. And looking turn 4. You can see Ansi left, right, looking for moves, looking for opportunities, trying to get some clean air. Big switch coming through. Turn 5. Big gun, big shot, and now P5 for the Williams.
8 points to his name now. That will mean he'll go into Saudi Arabia with 1 point behind the Lund, who is out of this race. He's not going to score any points here. And Joris is probably, if he's listening to this now and is going to hear that, is probably celebrating even more. But we have to focus ahead for the moment. We have to focus on Justin Alters. 7 positions gained. 7. He didn't start with a name that we were going to say is going to win this. No, he comes out of nowhere, plays his cards right, and he is going to come out victorious. Justin, you're a PSGL winner in Hungary.
And there you go. That is, say, position 9, mistakes none, and win 1 more to their name. Brilliant job for Justin Ertz. And everyone coming across the line in a very rhythmic fashion. Big surge at the end for Joris, though, as well. That is going to be shuffling up the championship and certainly closing that gap for sure.
It's massively going to shuffle it up. Who was your driver of the day? That is the question indeed that we do have to ask. I honestly can't say who it is because that's changed so much.
If I had to put driver of the day on anyone, I would honestly say that Danico's going to get my vote. Purely because amidst all the chaos around him, got his head down, did what he needed to do, he just got exactly what he needed out of this race. There's a big points jump, big points finish. P4, nothing to scoff at. So he definitely can hold his head high after today's performance. And we did see a lot of shufflings from the rest of the field. And Zerky with a big jump as well. But Danico so much rides on this race in terms of his position, and he really maximized it.
Yeah, as you can see on your screen, Justin takes first place, Super Gaming in second, Zerky in third, Danico in fourth, Joris in fifth, Finn in sixth, Oski in seventh, Elliot in 8th, Johansson finding himself 9th after starting on pole, Norwicki in 10th, Tomas in 11th, Goji in 12th, Akos in 13th, Cordor in 14th, Nagy in 15th, Lund in 16th, and Jack Harrington in 17th.
Yeah, because we had the few drivers who did unfortunately DNF. So yeah, Harrington, Lund, Nagy, Cordon a lap down, so didn't really make it as standard, but of course did come across the line. And then craziness up and down the field. I mean, you say Hungary produces some boring tracks, but this is what I was saying when I said that its strengths really show when it comes to league racing.
Oh yeah, it definitely does come to show, and it's also the reason why I do enjoy watching it myself. It's usually the drivers are the ones that are complaining. They're like, oh no, it's not good enough, but we've shown today it's such a good track. Stop complaining about such a good track. Yeah, this is going to be extremely interesting going forward into the next race, and I feel it's only fair we get Justin into this call to have a word with him.
Yeah, so and that is, yeah, let's grab him. Let's get him in.
Justin.
Hello.
What a race today. You weren't even in contention in our conversations to win this, and somehow you've won.
I'm speechless, honestly, because I don't know, starting P8, especially around Hungary, and then it getting wet towards the end. I mean, played the cards perfectly, didn't spin, didn't get a warning, and then just come across line P1. And I overheard. I'm a proud WR and PSGL winner now.
Yeah, you can be proud, the head held up high. That rain coming down, did that strike a bit of nerve towards you, or are you a wet racer yourself?
I like it when it's wet. But no, it was. I was faster than Finn behind, so I knew a P3 was on the cards. And then obviously Lil was spinning. I mean, I didn't think, I could win. I went for P2 after the first safety car restart. I didn't warm up my tires at all, and I lost. I lost that chance. So at the second safety car, it was a chance of redemption, and I went for it. I warmed up my tires. I went for the dummy into turn 2, and it worked. And then just trying not to get that third warning and coming across the line P1.
Anything from you, Sappy?
It's just a brilliant job. I mean, I would say 2 questions for me. One, what was your initial plan with the race today?
Well, I knew it was going to be wet towards the end, so I thought, okay, start on hards, make it last as long as possible. I know I have the pace. But then that whole mindset kind of went out the window. After about 2 laps, I found myself in P4. And then after that, it was really like, okay, can we get P3? Then there was a Finn in the pits. He spun, so I'm like, okay, can I get P2? And then the Leo's in lead, and he dies. So it's like, can I get P1? So I couldn't find that mindset rhythm the entire race. It was mainly just me almost being pushed up the staircase. Be like, all right, listen, you haven't done anything, but go up there. It's now your chance. And then I had to grab it.
Yeah, it's right there in front of you. You've almost got to. It's just ascending up the staircase. So I guess it's safe to say that all the wet running was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason I did wet running is because I leveled up GP mode, and it just happened to be intermediate conditions. I was like, okay, screw it, I'll do it. And yeah, if it weren't for that, I don't know where I would have been today.
Brilliant job, mate. Well, a job well done for sure. Heading into the next few couple of rounds, of course, Saudi Arabia and then Brazil. How do you feel on those tracks?
Well, after finishing P2 and P1, after starting from P8, P13, honestly, anything is achievable at this point. So I'll just see what the race does, and if I get good points, I'll get good points. If I don't, then I don't.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Justin. We'll be seeing you next week. And next in the call, he got 3rd, I believe. I've got to get my maths right. But Zerky, this is a rarity. Johansson, get out there. It's a rarity to have you up here on the podium. How do you feel about that?
I was cooking.
You were cooked.
You cooked.
My quality was ass, like 0.8. That's very, very bad. Considering I did the one practice session, I couldn't really do more, I think, which is fine. And then I cooked in race and was lucky and did the right stuff, which meant I got a P3. And I made a very nice move at the end because Alessandro decided to blow up Danny, which made me get 2 positions.
Yeah, and that rain, again, that wasn't something I said to I've already forgotten his name, Justin, just a moment ago. That rain turned the whole race round. What was your initial plan going in, and how did you have to adapt going into the wet race, the wet side of the race?
Actually, my normal setup, I had a really low rear wing, and then I saw it was gonna rain later in the race, in the quali. So I just put up the rear wing like a shit ton. So I was so slow overtaking Oski to like P6 at some point. Which meant I actually had a wet setup for the end, which made it a bit easier. And then I just saw it would go wet at the end, so I just put hards. I would go till it started raining, which it did.
Fair enough. Sappy?
I repeat the same question as I said to Justin. The main thing for me is, what was your initial plan, and how did you adapt as the race went on?
I just was I just followed Erski for like 20 laps, I think. The whole race basically. Just saving ERS behind him, and then when I saw the rain was about to come, I just overtook him and pitted for inters, and then there was a bit of safety car hectic. But yeah, it was fine. I just tried to like stay alive basically.
Brilliant stuff. Well, definitely a great performance out there, mate. P3, you can certainly wear that one with pride.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what a brilliant race that was. I genuinely taken back from what the racing we've had today, and I know I have that every week, that they always come up, they entertain us, bring out such a good race, but that is impressive from all of them to step the game up and produce that this week.
Sorry, I'm in the world of my own because everything kicked off. I'm just still almost like processing it in my mind, where it was looking like a dry race, and then it started to get cloudy, and we saw all of these changes around the field, and then the wet racing comes in and completely changes the dynamic, completely changes everyone's perspective on the runnings. And I know that we've got 2 more races, but in terms of drama, like on-track drama, we may not have had any big raw overtakes per se, or like big battles, but the evolving conditions absolutely made this round for me.
Oh yeah, the evolving conditions definitely does, and I feel it always does when you do have the wet to dry race and the crossovers, things like that. Always definitely adds to a drama. So you can't predict it. You really can't predict those conditions. But one thing we can predict is where we're going next week, and we've hinted towards it being Saudi Arabia. What's your thoughts on that track?
It's almost like Monaco 2 for me, in the sense that it's very tight, it's very technical, you do get a little bit more space to breathe, but there's also just as little of a margin for error if you get it wrong. So, as far as tracks go, it's one of the most confidence-based on the calendar, and we're really going to see who has the real faith in their setups in their car come next round.
Absolutely. I love Saudi Arabia to commentate. I think I rank it number 2 for commentating, because unlike Monaco, and this is the only bit I'm going to slightly disagree with you saying Monaco 2.0, is that this track, there is so much more overtaking because of the overspeed you get. And 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a last lap lunge on turn 27, and that's then going to cause a drag race all the way down to the finish line. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But until then, any last words from you, Ben?
So the DRS mind games, the tight technical sweeps, Saudi Arabia's going to bring it. Jeddah Corniche circuit really is good in the league race in front, and we'll see you next round, because it's one you don't want to miss, especially with the championship shakeups we just saw.
Absolutely. Stay tuned next week. As I said, we're going to be back doing some more drama, doing some more racing. But if you are wanting more action, I think we have the PS coming up tomorrow. I think. Something like that. I know it's within this week. We've got the PS racers battling it out, seeing what they can do, and again, some quality drivers there. But if it is us that you desperately crave, then of course stay tuned next week, same time as usual, for the Jeddah Grand Prix.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.